We spent the past couple of years in a crazy hot market. Louisville home sales decline as demand outpaces supply. Effective communication is at the core of any situation. If you master these two ideas, you'll have a chance of being successful at residential real estate marketing. I think you need to be looking for investment opportunities that move the needle. The market will never crash if demand exceeds supply. This is what I've been telling you all along.
This is the J Pitts Show. And we're back, folks. Welcome back to the J Pitts Show. Talk Radio 1080, real news, real talk. Ryan, what's up, man?
Well, I'm wondering if my Derby pick won.
Well, we'll just be wondering, won't we? We'll just be wondering. Welcome back to the J Pitts Show. We're going to have a prototypical show for you today. Got a little story from the field. Got some articles that Ryan's pulled for commentary. Might even discuss a little Apple versus Android again.
Yeah, they got people fired up on social media.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. Had people calling me a clown for liking Apple, and I don't know.
After we talk about Android versus Apple market share, it might make a little more sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. I get that. I totally get that. But I was told something like, imagine, loving inferior technology and acting superior about it. And I was like, come on, dude. I said, did you see my response?
I saw them all.
This was a TikTok comment because, we take clips from the show and we post it out on our social media. And I get that response or that comment. And my response was, imagine ruining all of your friends' group text and then thinking that they're the problem.
That's every, or I shouldn't say every comment, but 99% of the comments, negative comments you get on social media are people with zero videos, a fake profile picture.
I agree.
And they're just there to troll because their life is not good.
Well, and the point is none of my, especially how I was snarky in my response, which I tend to be, especially because I know that this is where this person's going. That's their whole purpose for being there. I don't have any problem against Android. I really don't. I just don't want to use it. I'm used to it. I'm stuck in my ways. I might be old. I don't want to adapt. I still believe it's the best. It may not be. I'm sure people have compelling arguments to make, but you can make a compelling argument without being a jerk. And I wasn't being a jerk when I just said my personal preferences. So anyway, we'll come back to that.
I have a problem with it. The green mess just ruining group texts.
And that's a lot of people don't do that apparently. And a lot of people don't FaceTime. And I use both of those features quite often. So, anyway. I will say, I said this in the episode that day, and it is true. When you're a real estate agent and you're working, leads and access and timing is important, the Android phones ring later, 100%. They always ring later. So if you're on my team and you have an Android, you're getting to leads slower than your competition.
Well, you're probably not getting any.
You're not getting any. Yeah.
Knowing how fast everybody picks up.
This is also true.
Yeah. So, all right, we got a good show. Start with story from the field like we normally do. We're going to talk about, are there more cash buyers in real estate these days? Because it sure does seem like it at times. Mm-hmm. Here's how much money Americans say they need to feel financially comfortable. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about how home builders are now targeting first-time home buyers and why. Android versus Apple market share, as Jay mentioned. And thank goodness, canceling subscriptions may get a lot easier, Jay.
That could be cool.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great? And it's not just subscriptions, it's technology subscriptions. So we'll get to it, but we'll start with this story from the field. Very basic question today. We have a lot of complicated ones normally, but this one is just an agent simply asking, how do I know if I'm at the right brokerage and if I need to switch? They've had a little bit of success, some sales, but just not enjoying it where they're at. Don't feel like they're getting the support, and they could really be doing somewhere else. So, I mean, how can you know if you're at the right place?
I think if you're wondering, you may not be. Right? There's obviously context to every discussion when it comes to stuff like this. Every real estate office is different, even similar brands. We're very different than every other Remax office in town. I know that there is a unique culture between the two different Keller Williams offices in town. Coldwell Banker offices. Each office is different. I often find myself believing in the statement that People don't leave companies, they leave leaders. So, I mean, you either know that you're with the right leader or you don't. Okay? Now, people come and go. No matter how good your company is, we've got a phenomenal culture. We've got, we have the best retention rates. We have the best, recruiting success of any Remax office in our region. I think it's fair to say we're doing a decent job, but people still leave. And, I don't really try to cater to individual agents. I try to build my company for what a successful agent should need. I try to align myself with what the majority of successful agents want. Okay? But I pay zero mind to ego, right? In trying to outfit my office for success. There are a certain number of quite successful real estate practitioners out there that want to have their ego stroked and they want their unfair share. I have no desire to have any of those individuals as a part of my organization. Specifically, this person that has made this request, you said, has had some success. So I'm gonna picture like a 2 to 3 year in the business, like $5 million a year producer, somebody who probably is pretty good at what they do, but they're not on easy street by any means. So what do they need? They probably need some support. They probably need some mentorship. They probably need some high level problem solving, from someone who's more experienced than them. You can get that, but if they want it done for them, then they're probably not for me. Right? Because the people that are part of my company, okay, are passing through probably a team, most likely my team, passing through to become an independent agent and potentially a team leader of a small organization in the future. Because that's how this business is done, with the most profit and the most sanity. Right? That's the truth. 2 to 3 agent team, making a couple $100,000 a year, having a couple of other highly proficient, happy, successful people along with them that they care about, that care about them. They've got some trust. They've got some camaraderie. And so I build my company to cater to people like that. Not people that want more than their fair share. Not people that want me to pay for their assistant for them. Me to give them 100% split. Me to lose so they can win. I want nobody like that. So I guess the question is, how do you know you're at the right place? Is your leader and is the situation leading you toward happiness? And if you don't feel that way, before you decide that they're the problem, look in the mirror and try to decide what you could have done differently.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think this is very true for really any job or business, though.
Yeah, it is.
If somebody's wondering if they're at the right place, there's a good chance you're not. And this is something I really expect or respect out of the younger generations, millennials, Gen Z, and it's, there is a lot more job hopping, but it's something I respect because it's typically not easy to do. You figure out what you love or what you like, the type of people you want to be around, and it's kind of a newer thing. Don't get me wrong, there's some bad things about it and drawbacks, but I really do respect people that can do that. Yeah.
I agree. I think knowing what you want and pursuing it is important. There is a caveat to that, right? If you are perpetually unhappy, you have to at some point take onus, take responsibility for the fact that you may be the problem. You have to be looking for the denominator, the common denominator. If it's you, then you got to fix you, because you'll never be happy with anyone else if you're not happy with yourself.
Do you ever have any other brokers across the country come to you and look for mentorship from you on how to be a better leader and retain agents more?
Absolutely. I have people ask me about business structure and roles to fill. And what I tell them ultimately is it comes down to people, right? You have to identify people. But the truth is we don't run recruiting efforts. We don't cold call people. We don't try to, convince people to move. We wait until they reach out to us. We, like I've said in prior episodes, we make them aware of our interests. And when they come to us, things just work, right? Because it's on their terms. It's not on mine. And it sets us up for success. So yes, how do you do that? And I say, guys,
It depends.
It really depends. And here's what it comes down to, and this is the uncomfortable conversation. The broker that's asking that question is usually not who they need to be. They've not focused on themselves enough and improved themselves enough to be the broker that can lead the kind of person they want to lead. So again, look in the mirror. If you're not that guy, you need to be that guy. If you're not that gal, you need to be that gal. Like the best version of you must be inspired before you can be inspirational.
Yeah, I love that quote from you. We were both sitting in a meeting yesterday, a lunch meeting, and the conversation went to every brokerage, every team, every real estate agent operates differently in this space. So if you stick in it, you'll probably eventually find a place you love to be at.
Yeah, no, I agree. Couldn't agree more. And, so hire slow, fire fast is what I used to be told. And I think that same can be used with vet your companies that you're going to work for slow. And if you know that they're not a fit, then move on.
Yeah. We'll be back on the Jay Pitts Show. We're going to cut to a couple minutes of sponsors, and we'll be back talking about, are there more cash buyers in real estate these days? Welcome back to the Jay Pitts Show, Talk Radio 1080. I'm your co-host, Ryan Harris, Real News, Real Talk. Jay, before I dive into this article talking about, are there more cash buyers in real estate these days, does it seem like it to you?
Yes. Yes, it does. It seems like it. And now, I think we have to look at globally, economically, kind of where we're at. We've put a lot of money into the economy. We put a lot of money in a variety of areas. Okay, we've driven home prices. We've allowed people to finance at incredibly low rates. All that increases. If you just look at real estate upgrade purchasing alone, people that have sold for more than they expected, okay, they've rolled that equity into a purchase price that might have been escalated, but financed at a really low rate, and then continued to see rapid price increases. I mean, there's a ton of equity, and that equity is able to be leveraged for cash purchasing. Lots of baby boomers downsizing, taking paid for homes and buying their next property, maybe a lateral purchase, a downsize in, footprint, and they've done it in cash. I really do think that it seems like it. I know this article says that I'm not correct, but
I think it tries to say you're not correct. It's one of those ones that tries throwing you off.
Well, the article's written for the people that are reading headlines.
And I think it's important to remember, in a lot of the country, the real estate market is on fire still because, as we keep saying, supply is so low and demand is high. And when that happens, you have home buyers who get gifts or help from family to buy homes with cash because that's what they have to do to win a home. For their offer to get accepted, it has to be cash sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's amazing where people find money sometimes.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, like Bank of Mom and Dad is a real thing. Give their son or daughter a $300,000 cash loan at a 6% interest rate or a 5% interest rate. That's pretty safe. That's a pretty safe bet for mom and dad.
Yeah, and it's a real estate investment at the end of the day. Exactly. Real estate's been the best investment in the country over the last however many years, and it proved itself over COVID.
Yeah, agreed.
So it's not like they're just giving their kids money to blow. It's in the best performing asset class in America.
Yeah. I mean, to me, this article, it's from Business Insider. Or just Insider, Business Insider. From Business Insider, no, there aren't more cash buyers in real estate these days. I think it's meant to be contrarian. It says the number, byline, the number of applications for conventional purchase loans was down to nearly 40% in mid-April from the same time last year, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association. Okay. I mean,
so it goes on to say, actually, down near the bottom, cash deals are up in real estate markets throughout the country. But that's not because prospective home buyers are shunning mortgages and deciding instead to buy houses with financing. It's because those very buyers who rely on mortgages are choosing to take a backseat and wait until rates come down. And then in quotes, when mortgage rates double overnight or over a year, people that need to finance pull back a lot quicker than people who pay with cash.
So there aren't more cash buyers because there's just fewer sales. Is that basically what we're saying?
That's what it's trying to say.
Fewer sales, and because finance buyers are rate locked and or not buying and have decided to sit out. So the only people that can buy are cash buyers. So it's like up is down, down is up.
Yeah, I mean, I get what they're saying. The number of cash buyers is the same, but if you look at percentage of cash buyers to mortgage buyers, cash buyer percentage would be up versus.
This is back to that distorted statistics argument we had before. Hey, the point is the media wants you to believe what they want you to believe, and they're going to write a headline because they're going to know most of you aren't going to read the full article. And you're going to go and spout this to your friend at the water cooler. So actually, there's not that many cash buyers out there. It's really not what it's saying. There's a lot of cash buyers out there.
Yeah, and agents that are working with buyers right now, you hear them saying, "I can't believe how many cash offers there were on this house. I thought it would help us out." But as this article's saying, it's mostly cash buyers out there.
Yep, I agree.
So,
all right,
on to the next one. Here's how much money Americans say they need to feel financially comfortable.
More. No matter what. No, I'm just kidding. Right?
That's a good answer. You threw me off for a sec. I was like, it always needs to be more. That is entrepreneur speaking right there.
Yeah, for sure.
So
never enough.
I'm going to go to this article, though, and see what it says.
Tell me what the article says.
I don't think any answer is going to be better than yours, but it says for Americans to feel financially comfortable, 1 in 5 say they need $1 million. So I'm guessing this is savings. The article doesn't actually say if it's yearly income or what, but based off the way the article goes, we're going to say this is savings. Here's the breakdown of the results based on the amounts survey respondents selected. So 8% of people said $10,000. 14% of people said $25,000. 36% said $100,000. 18% said $500,000. 20% said $1 million. And 4% had no answer. I'm guessing those were the more people.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Nearly 75% of respondents say they need at least 100,000. So they basically add the 100, the 500, and the million together to get that number, 75%. I would agree with you. I think this has got to be.
At the end of the day, this is a lifestyle question.
It absolutely is. The majority of, if you look at the rest of the information in the article, it talks about, credit card debt hitting all-time highs. It talks about financial vulnerability, struggling to keep up with additional costs and inflation. I mean, they're driving a narrative here, and what they're saying is that everything is expensive, and 75% of Americans feel insecure about their savings if they don't have 100,000 or more set aside.
Which I think is reasonable.
I think it's absolutely reasonable. I mean, to me, $1 million net worth is not wealthy anymore.
No.
Now that would be anathema to some people. Some people would think that was crazy that I would say that. And I understand that, you're in a privileged position if you have $1 million net worth. Don't get me wrong. Now, you may have earned it. You probably did. The vast majority of people with that amount of wealth did earn it. But, you're still vulnerable to things that happen to people with that amount of money, and you can go from that to zero quite quickly. And so, when things cost more, it takes more. That's the truth.
I think that the last statistic I saw on this was there's 58 million millionaires.
58 million millionaires
in the world.
In the world. Not in the United States.
No.
Okay. Well, it's not exactly top 1% anymore, is it?
And I think that's what I read.
I think that's what I read. We're gonna put an asterisk on that one in the show notes. We think we heard that. No, man. I get it. When things are expensive, costs are not coming down. My late father, talked to me one time about inflation, the core inflation goal of 2% that you see. Of course, you heard 9.5% or what have you last fall. It's been trending down. But he said, think about that for a second. Just in terms of something real simple, a gallon of milk. Okay, so if you paid $1 for a gallon of milk last year, then a gallon of milk should only be $1.02 next year. Yeah. Essentially $1.05 the year after. He said, so you're telling me that in order for the economy to be healthy, then the cost of a gallon of milk can't go up more than 5 cents in 2 years. And that, I think, when you look at it and put that in perspective, that's an awfully low goal. I'm not saying 9% or 9.5% is healthy. Certainly, when you see like the spikes, when you couple shortage with inflationary practices, like eggs or ground beef or some of the things that we've seen like drastic increases in. When you see, the cost of gas go up 100%. It goes from $2 to $4 a gallon.
It's getting expensive right now.
No, I know it is. When you see, your gas and electric bill at your home go to $400 when it was $260 last year, those are crazy spikes. That's not explained by inflation. There are other things, supply and demand things that take effect there. But I just simply think that 2% core inflation is not the right number.
And where do they pull 2% from? It's a lot of I see numbers all the time. Like, where do they get that? Why is it flat 2%?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why is it not 1.976?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. They simplify it for digestion, mental digestion. That's what's happening. But 2% just doesn't seem right to me. I mean, more like 5%, right? Like, if you're willing to pay $1.05 for a gallon of milk next year that you paid $1 for this year, right?
Might sound right to you now since we just had 9 and 9.5.
I maybe, but we had this conversation in 2020, and it stuck with me. So anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Are you ever going to get your Tesla truck? Speaking of gas prices,
they're supposed to be delivering the first models to roll off the assembly line this fall.
This fall,
yeah.
Are one of those going to be yours?
No. There's over 1 million pre-orders. I'm probably like 200,000. So if they at top capacity, they can roll like 30,000 a month.
Okay.
I think. So like if I'm at like 200,000, you figure like about a year and a half, 2 years.
Tesla just slashed a lot of their prices.
They did.
And a lot of the people had pre-orders.
Totally.
Well, not pre-orders, but already ordered their Tesla before they dropped the price. Didn't let people out of the contract and still had to pay the same price.
They didn't, and like some of the people that had taken delivery, like just immediately upside down.
Yeah, like $10,000-$15,000
immediately upside down. Yeah, pretty wild.
All right, we're going to cut to a couple sponsors. We're about at time for this segment. We'll be back on the Jay Pitts Show, Talk Radio 1080, Real News, Real Talk. I'm your co-host Ryan Harris. See you in a sec.
And we're back, folks. Welcome back to the Jay Pitts Show, Talk Radio 1080. Ryan, we're talking about Tesla. Of course, I have to say, the Tesla truck, it looks quite interesting. My wife is like not excited to have this thing, but I'm like such a geek. I've already talked to the electrician. I know where the plug's going in the garage. I've already measured the garage to make sure it's wide enough and deep enough because the thing's like massive. I just can't get over like it's 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. It tows 14,000 pounds and goes 500 miles on a charge. Like how do you not want that? I don't know. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes.
I'm sure it won't be the only one in Louisville.
I will tell you this. I'll tell you this though. Do you know you can't paint them? They come in that gray color and you have to wrap them before you paint them. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, because like it's that stainless steel, that like bulletproof, supposedly stainless steel.
So that's not with all the other Teslas. That's just the truck.
No, it's just the Cybertruck. And yeah, so like I've already got this plan. Like I want matte black. I want to wrap it and paint it matte black. Like I think the thing's going to look like straight up Mad Max rolling down the street.
Oh gosh.
But anyway,
yeah, your wife's going to hear this and not be even more excited.
She doesn't listen.
Your kids are going to love it though.
My kids will love it. My kids will love it. We rode in a Model X on vacation. We got an Uber. It was a Model X. So with the Falcon doors.
Nice.
She thought that was cool.
That's cool.
Anyway, speaking of Elon, We got a little Twitter action going on here. What do you had something you want to
Did
talk
you see? Well, the blue check marks. It's keeping Twitter in the news. It took them away from people if you weren't paying, and then there were a ton of people that paid for them. And then he gave blue check marks to people with 1 million followers or more.
Yeah.
So like Dave Portnoy, for example, paid for it. An hour later, he gave the blue check mark back to him. But they still have to pay for it, I guess, if you already paid for it.
It's interesting. I still have mine. I did agree to pay for it. But it's like, they're continuing to try and layer in value, I think, for the people that pay. I personally believe that verified accounts, verified identity is an important thing, and like is something if people are willing to pay for, then that's no big deal. I really love Twitter. I was afraid it was going to go under, right? And I thought, well, I'll just do my part, right? $8 is not that bad. I think they raised it to 11 now. But which I didn't love.
That's how they reel you in.
I didn't love.
It's like Netflix right now.
I didn't love that. When I 3 months after I paid 8, like they changed it to 11. So I didn't love that. But whatever. We talked about their API. I shared that knowledge with a few very tech forward folks on vacation. We went to Florida with about 7 or 8 couples, and a couple of guys are programmers and they have a different opinion of Elon and other things. Well, whatever, that's fine. But we talked about like BuzzFeed. Did you hear about BuzzFeed?
No.
Well, didn't BuzzFeed they left Twitter or shut down or something? Or the CEO, they fired their CEO. That's what it was. I think the CEO of BuzzFeed just got fired the other day.
You can subscribe to people on Twitter now.
You can, which I thought was
you can charge money for it.
Yeah, I mean, all fine, I'm good with that.
I haven't checked. Elon has a subscribe button. I wonder if he's charging people for that.
Well, you got to get what they're doing there is they're going after the independent news, sites. There's the Substacks and the whatnot. I mean, Elon has a very big. He wants to have creators that generate content like YouTube and have subscribers and generate revenue. He says he's made a recent tweet that says, I want Twitter creators to be the most profitable creators out there.
Yeah.
So it's hard to imagine. That's certainly a YouTube thing currently, right?
Yeah, no, it is. And we've talked about Elon, you go to Twitter for your news source. If I hear something and I want to go read about it, I'm going to Twitter. And, people are saying he's an evil genius, whatever, but, they had their spaceship launch the other day, another one, the largest one ever built, successfully launched. It did blow up. But where do people go talk about it blowing up? Twitter.
Exactly. Exactly. Did you happen to see? Well, I'm not going to go there. Probably ought to leave that one alone. Probably ought to leave that one alone.
You can tell me.
I have to catch you this one offline.
All right, let's reel it back in. Get into some real estate. Home builders. So why home builders are targeting first-time home buyers. This article, the mortgage rates shock has refocused home builders' attention on an underserved segment, the first-time home buyers. Why it matters. Since the mid-2000s, housing boom ended with the disastrous financial crisis in 2008. Builders have mostly focused on larger, more expensive homes, the kind that are out of reach for entry-level buyers. It goes on to say, basically the reason they are targeting first-time home buyers, Jay, is because everybody else is mortgage rate locked in. So the most likely candidates for their homes are first-time home buyers who don't own anything yet, and therefore they aren't locked into a mortgage rate or a good mortgage rate.
Yeah, I buy that. A vast majority, a good percentage of transactions every year on the buy side are done by first-time buyers. You look at household creations is an easy stat to silo from outside of financial news. Household creations is an important statistic. You can get that from the census. There's pretty good, estimates that are pretty reliable out there. I see this, I think, we've talked about how baby boomers are the number one source of listings, right? Because they're the most immune to rate lock type situations. First-time home buyers makes total sense. I've seen this modeled locally. We've talked about the Blue Oval and everything going down in our hometown of Elizabethtown with the, Ford factory and the battery factories going in, all the industry moving to the area. you see these large national builders moving into this market or have moved into this market. Pulte is the one that's quoted here, the CEO of Pulte Group. Pulte is one. They're skewing towards entry-level homes. They're skewing towards entry-level homes and affordable homes. It makes great sense. It's a good way to help ease the inventory problem that we have. Typically, traditionally, new construction was harder. It was higher on a price per square foot. It was harder to deliver at a price point where existing homes can be purchased. Now the lines are getting blurred between the two because such a shortage of inventory exists in existing homes. The prices are going up because demand still exists. Okay, but now we're delivering more inventory, new inventory to the market. I think maybe, okay, because infill was the trend the last time during the Great Recession that we saw gas prices increase substantially. Commuting, people didn't want to, if you're here in Louisville, you'll know these markets, didn't want to move to Shelbyville or LaGrange or Fisherville because they had longer commutes to work. But now work from home is so much more popular that maybe that allows people to sprawl a bit, still keep their job, and take advantage of lower land prices that deliver, ultimately lower construction costs, which ultimately deliver lower home prices.
Yeah. D.R. Horton's quoted here as well, as they also said they're taking steps that, reading between the lines, will appeal to entry-level home buyers. We have continued offering incentives and reducing the prices and sizes of our homes. So they're going after the first-time home buyers too. Both those companies are moving into Elizabethtown.
Yep.
And yeah, Elizabethtown is seeing a crazy boom.
Yeah, it is. Wild, in fact. I buy this 110%. I buy this, and all the rationale behind it. I don't think this is hype. I don't think this is exaggerating the issue. I don't think it's driving a narrative. This is on point. One of the better articles we've read in a while.
Yeah, and it's really one of the few things actually addressing, or one of the few people addressing the housing crisis we have right now. Builders, and
they need to. I just wish we could stimulate supply with smaller builders. I wish we could do like an SBA product, for development, something a little more speculative to allow small builders to develop smaller tracts of land, deliver, 8, 10, 12, 15 homes at a time in smaller areas, places that are too small for like the D.R. Hortons and the Pulte groups and the, Arbor Homes and the big boys,
Yeah, what are the main advantages those big boys have over the smaller builders?
Well, they buy in bulk. They buy materials in bulk. They negotiate bulk deals on labor rates with the subcontractors. I mean, imagine if you're an electrician and you have the option to go out and find 10 different jobs in 10 different locations, or you can come to work for D.R. Horton and you can frame 10 houses on the same, or you can wire 10 houses on the same street. Right. You may take a little bit less to, number one, know that you have 10 jobs, but number two, the ease of showing up for work in the same place every day, knowing exactly what materials you're going to use, knowing exactly how long the job's going to take. It's efficiency is what it is. Those are the, they throw their weight around. It's like, the story, like in poker, like, the size of your chip stack is just as important as how good a player you are. That's the advantage that a large builder has over a small one.
Their mortgage companies are a pretty big advantage as well, correct?
Of course, they can offer incentives to buyers to get more sales. They can accept lower margins. They can, they can drive revenue in multiple sources like mortgage, like ancillary services, title, etc.
Yeah, I've always wondered if they actually make more money on the homes or the mortgages.
Mortgage is incredibly profitable. You can see that. Anybody that controls any amount of real estate transactions immediately gets into mortgage. You can see that from Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett. You can see that from Clayton Mobile Homes, which is also owned by Warren Buffett. You can see that in any large scale builder. You can see it in large successful brokerages like ours. Mortgage is where it's at, man.
And when you have it tied to a brokerage or a builder, it just simplifies the process as well.
It absolutely
It's
does.
definitely about making money, but it's about simplifying the process for the consumer.
Yeah, experience. Yeah. I mean, for our agents, we want it for our agents. We want it for our clients. So, good stuff.
All right, we'll be back. Cut to a couple minutes of sponsors. Jay Pitts Show, Talk Radio 1080. I'm your co-host, Ryan Harris. Real news, real talk. See you in a few.
And we're back, folks. Welcome back to the Jay Pitt Show. Talk Radio 1080, Real News, Real Talk. I'm your host, Jay Pitts, here with Ryan Harris. Ryan, are we going to get to Apple Android yet?
Yeah, we can.
Let's do that, man. Let's do it.
I was just thinking, we don't say I don't say my name enough on this show.
You say my name 10 times more than you say yours.
Well, I feel like I have to.
It is the title, unfortunately. It's a little cringy, but I'll take it. All right,
Batman and Robin.
Why is Android more popular globally while iOS rules the U.S.?
So we've been talking about Apple and Android lately, and I think we're going to because it does get good reactions on social media.
Because that's what we're about, right?
That is part of this show, is getting views. So we're trying to do that in a way. But It is very interesting. You know, I think if you live in America and you have an iPhone, it sounds preposterous to have an Android, which we've talked about. But I just want to read this article, and it'll really put things in perspective. So it starts out, did you know that Google's Android is the most popular mobile operating system around the globe? Apple's iOS, however, reigns supreme in the United States. Android takes the top spot at 71.95% market share globally, beating iOS by 43.94% share. Meanwhile, in the U.S., Apple continues to dominate at 57.78% market share. So I'll stop there. That is dominating in the United States, but it's not even close to what I thought it would be in the United States.
It's not the margin that. No, I mean it makes sense to me. I knew it wasn't as disparate. It wasn't as disparate. I can say, you know, we're the most prosperous nation on the planet. It's certainly a more expensive product. The Apple iPhone is. I think the majority of people that are, you know, well off tend to skew towards iOS. That's my guess. But there's a lot of Android users out there. There absolutely are. You know, and it's kind of an unfair comparison because, you know, you're dealing with it's one that Apple created, but you know, Apple created the iPhone and their iOS for exclusivity, right? Android is not a phone brand. Android is an operating system, right? That exists on multiple phone brands. So Apple has multiple competitors in the phone space. It has one competitor in the operating system space. But I mean, you know, it's truly remarkable when you consider one company with one device, with one operating system controls that kind of share of market globally, whereas there's probably 15 brands of phone that carry the Android operating software.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. It is cost, and it's the open source platform. You know, it says here, Android is an open source platform owned by Google that can be adapted and used by many smartphone brands. It's one of the reasons why Android rules the mobile operating system. But once again, like you said, it's cost. So a quick search on Amazon and you'll find Android phones starting at $39. So you can get a smartphone for less than $40. And the cheapest iPhone on Amazon, a pre-owned iPhone 7, starts at $150.
Pre-owned iPhone 7. And we're at 14 now, right?
I was just saying, I don't even know what we're on.
I think it's the 14.
It seems like they're coming out with them faster and faster.
They are. It's at least one a year, at least one. Sometimes two, because I feel like the distribution they've gone from like the premium version, and then like 6 months later they do the like value option, like the SE or whatever. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore.
Did you see the new AirPod case? They've been teasing.
I have not.
The case has a screen on it that you can change your music. I was like, I'll stick to just. I don't hold the case to change music.
I'm Googling now.
I also might have been got.
Oh man, well we're gonna find.
Because you know people always come out with
dupes,
iPhone features, and it just happens more and more.
No, 9 to 5 Mac. There's a picture of it right there.
Oh, thank goodness.
God, a screen. It's like an iPod.
Somebody, you know, it's funny. Somebody's like, "What if we just had a smaller iPhone that was just for music, and we call it an iPod?"
Like, you could probably buy those. Those things are probably collector's items.
So I just moved to a new house, and I found my old iPod.
Wow. How old were you? Like 12?
Probably a little older. I still remember the first time I ever saw an iPod, and it was my friend got it at like 11 he turned 11 or 12, and it was a birthday party, and it was the most amazing thing in the world. Still remember the first time I saw an iPhone too.
Yeah, I got the iPhone right when it came out. It was actually coincided with me getting out of the mortgage business into real estate, and I got an iPod when I graduated college. And that was, whatever. It's funny.
So you got an iPhone and then an iPod?
No. iPod was 04. iPhone was 07.
Okay, got it.
So, only like in the dark ages.
All right, let's talk about this. I've been looking forward to talking about this more than anything.
Okay, let's go.
So, canceling subscriptions may get a lot easier. The Federal Trade Commission is proposing amending a federal rule so consumers can more easily cancel recurring subscriptions. Why it matters. The proposal, which the agency says aims to cover everything from cosmetics to newspapers to gym memberships, is another move by FTC Chair Lena Khan to protect consumers in a digital economy. Do you know how happy this makes me? I thought it was just going to be for apps, but just the fact you can cancel a gym membership, I don't know how they plan on doing it. I don't know if they have to be signed up on a site and everybody has an account, but I'm going to be very happy to not have to go into a gym and cancel a membership.
I still pay Planet Fitness because it's only $10 a month, and I keep thinking I'm going to go there, which actually I did. I go to Crunch Fitness, but it was kind of super crowded one day. I was like, this is bonkers. And I just left, and I remembered, I still have my membership to Planet Fitness that I'm paying $10 a month for, that I haven't used in a while. So I just ran over to Planet Fitness. Now, I must say the vibe was way different, but it was good enough. I got my workout in. The crazy thing, I remember, and this is probably too early for you to remember, when the subscription model became in vogue. Okay, there's actually a couple of business owners who are very popular here in town. Actually, the owners, the local franchisees of Planet Fitness, the Keeber family, right? So Rick and David Keeber, which are big U of L boosters and fans of the University of Louisville, own lots of businesses here in Louisville, were involved in video rental business, right? Video rental business. They sold. They moved their money to Suntan City. Was the first venture they did together after their father retired, and the subscription tanning service was becoming in vogue. This was in the early 2000s. They have since moved on to gym memberships and things like that, because I think everybody understands that when you have a low monthly fee that is somewhat aspirational, people think they'll use it more than they do. They don't. And yeah, at some point it becomes a chore to go cancel. Maybe this changes that game a little bit, but who knows? I a hat tip and a nod to the Keebers for their, spotting the trends.
I remember the first time I remember subscriptions was more for music. So Spotify and then Apple, and it seemed kind of like preposterous to pay that every month. And now you look back on it, you're like, what? I mean, it makes so much sense.
Oh, of course. I want access to all the music, and I'll just pay $8-9 a month for it. So, did you ever watch the Netflix series?
I did.
You did. Okay. It kind of got a little squirrely on me toward the end, but the first few episodes were really good.
They told too many people's point of view stories.
Yeah, I felt like it was kind of cool at first, but then it got to be a little weird.
What was the founder's name again?
I can't remember. I mean, no, I just don't remember.
Well, I did see, speaking of Twitter again, he just joined Twitter.
Oh, really? The Spotify founder?
Yes. Hasn't had a Twitter ever, or maybe he had one and he's just got back on it in years.
Is it Daniel Ek?
Yes.
Yeah. Or Martin Lorenzen.
I don't know how I forgot that.
Yeah, Daniel Ek. Wow. So he's joined Elon at Twitter.
Yeah. Might have to subscribe to him. I don't know.
Oh, wow. All right. So what else we got, man? I mean, I'm excited. I hope I can, cancel some stuff. One click. But if, I'm skeptical, if I'm honest, because I can't keep spam out of my inbox. So
yeah, there'll probably be a lot of good companies that come out of this. Yeah. One click cancel. I know there's the credit card companies. You can connect your credit card and they'll present every single subscription you're a part of.
Yeah.
So it just checks recurring subscriptions and tells you, but that doesn't mean you can cancel them all right there.
No, it just helps keep you aware of what you've signed up for and forgot about.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. So I have a question for you. We got a little bit of time left. Do you know, so, it got popular calling everybody Karens at one point. So it's along the same lines. Do you know what, like, calling somebody an almond mom or almond dad is?
Well, so I'm guessing this is a play on, almond milk and, it not being real milk, or, some people, not liking dairy or wanting their kids to have dairy. And so I imagine it makes you, uptight. You're uptight. You're an almond mom. Almond dad.
Yeah, kind of. It's the way I understood it. And I think, all these things kind of shift once they start being said, what they mean. And the way I understand it's just kind of bland, just kind of boring in there. But, this says TikTok users have been skewering diet culture with the latest trend, critiquing so-called almond moms amid the resurgence in Y2K fashion and idolizing of thin body types. So I don't know. That's how it started, but now it's going to you're just boring. You're just don't be an almond mom.
Don't be an almond mom. You knew something had jumped the shark when your kids are 7 or 8 years old and they know what a Karen is.
Was that a problem in the household?
It was a problem. We said, we had to have a conversation, son. This is absolutely not appropriate for you to be saying this. What if so and so's mom is named Karen? We don't want to make them feel bad, do we? And he's like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I really wonder how many less people have been called that over the last 2 years.
I hope it's on its way out. All right, man. Well, that's, I think, all the time we got for today. We covered a lot of ground. We certainly do appreciate you for tuning in every week. As always, you can catch us here on Saturday mornings on Talk Radio 1080, Real News, Real Talk. Until next time, I am Jay Pitts, your host for The Jay Pitts Show, here with Ryan Harris. Thank you once again. We'll see you next week.